Can you hear me now? Let's try that. Yes, you can hear me now? Right, okay. I don't know why, but my microphone apparently decided not to work. Blah, blah, blah.
Maybe it was like, I don't.
Right, I was waffling away. And I was just saying that YouTube didn't give me the option again for changing the orientation. And I had it all set up nicely and all ready once again. I'll leave my microphone at this point then, because I'm not going to go trying to find to turn it on properly. So I'm just checking that you can see nicely. I am going to be painting on a wooden slice again today. And I have my colours out. I have titanium white and Mars black. I have dioxine purple, phthalo blue, burnt umber, cadmium yellow, cadmium red, phthalo green, and I've also got red medium, so that's a slightly brighter version of this one. These two are the full cadmiums, so they're a bit more pigmented. I can't say words. I don't know why. Don't know why. So there we are. What I'm going to do as well, because I've got the screen up on the big TV, I'm going to pop live chat on there, so occasionally I can look across and I'll be able to see what you're saying. Hope you're behaving. So apologies again for the positioning. Every time I set it up all ready, and it just didn't give me the option. So there we go. There we go. So how is everybody doing today? Can I see Ella the eldest is in, as well as Annie and lovely Lisa. We've got lovely Lisa in as well. Awesome sauce. That makes me happy. Well, it makes me happy for it, but she is the bestest moderator in the business. It's good to have the bestest moderator. Awesome to have the bestest moderator. Just fussing through my brushes a minute. Just deciding what ones I want to use. So this is a wooden slice. That's it normally, but I've already pre-painted with titanium white on the front, just so I can get a head start and get sorted. Now these come from my local hobbycraft shop, and they don't cost a lot of money. They're pretty good. They are pretty. I love you too, lovely Lisa. Love you too, lovely Lisa. So I kind of sketched. It's not precise, but I like the idea of doing a fairy, and this weird blob there, because my pen's kind of went funny, is meant to be like a dragon, like clutching a dragon, because in my world, the world I like to paint personally, there is always... It's a world where dragons are no bigger than a mushroom, basically. And I really like that idea. I really do. It's not a new idea. It's not something I've come up with personally, but it's something that I really love the idea of. So when you're using acrylics, it's always a good idea to slightly dampen your brush and then start working with your paint. Now, I've said it a few times. If you've been with me a minute, you know by now that I love painting swirls. That's the way I just like to paint. It's just a style I like. And what I've done there is I've gone into my titanium white and phthalo blue. And I've mixed in first, because my light source is this. And then I'm going to go out slightly more. Now this is my first layer. And I want to go light. Do you want what do you want to slap in the face with a brick? Oh. Ooh, 2 new molds for Stacey. What did you guess, Stacey? I love getting new molds. I need more. I'm just greedy. I need all the molds in the world. Oh dear. So I'm just going around here. This is my light source, and it doesn't matter. I can tidy it up because this is just my first layer. This is my first little bit of colour, and I think it's so important to know how to do backgrounds and be confident in those backgrounds.
Stacey had a dolphin and a Santa mold today.
A dolphin and a Santa?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a funny combination to have. Is Santa going to be riding the dolphin? Not in that way, don't be gross. But, you know. Now, if I want to get a better flow of paint, I do add a little bit of water. But what's cool about acrylic paints is you can get extenders like the Goblin, and it can help the flow of your paint, and it can also stop it from drying so fast, because unlike oil paints can take years to actually dry and settle, whereas acrylics only take mere moments. They don't take long at all to dry, and I think that's why I have a preference for painting with them, because I don't like waiting. Don't like waiting. Oh, so I poured some resin this morning, and it was another bloom. It's for next week's video, for Wednesday. For a Wednesday video. I poured some yesterday and it came out really odd, but I think I figured out what happened. So I'm going to be I've revisited that today to add into my video. So I've done that. So I'm looking forward later this afternoon to unmolding and seeing what happened. So I've just gone more into the titanium white. And this is where I'm going to start circling in a bit. Now, I'm painting wet on wet here. No cheekiness now. But I am painting wet on wet. It's an easy process to do. And it's kind of fun. But you just got to get a little bit confident with it. And I'm just kind of playing with the colours a little bit, because it's giving me, I'm working fast enough for it to give me that time just to play and figure out if this is a sun, is it a moon. I've never really bothered myself with trying to create perfect moons and stuff. I just like to have them as a nice colour up in the sky, and then letting the colour of the rest of it dictate what time of day it could be. But I do enjoy just swirling and whirling around in circles, because when you do it like this, you can just do some breathing exercises, and that's what I do a lot of. I do a lot of breathing exercises when I'm painting, except for today because I'm gas bagging and waffling away to you guys. I want it to illuminate like it's colour coming out, and I can just do that by doing that. So I'm going more just into the titanium white. And I want to have a few of these whiter lines like this. I quite like that. That looks cool to me. Now I'm going back into my phthalo just to bring that around again. And that's given us a really lovely, like radiating of light coming from whatever. I haven't quite decided what this bit is yet, whether it's going to be the sun or the moon. But that doesn't matter, does it? Because we can do whatever we want. So I've just gone down a size on my brush, and it doesn't matter that that's got a lot of the phthalo into it. I can go over it again with the white, and doing it this way helps the white actually go pop. So I'll revisit that when it can have a few moments to have a rest, and I'll go back into that in a few moments. How's everyone doing?
I'm sad because they've recently lost their hamster.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that you've lost your hamster. I had a hamster once. His name was Percy. And I inherited him off my nephew because he moved house and wasn't allowed to have pets in his new place. And Percy was a lovely little hamster. And he was an escape artist.
He disappears for...
He would disappear for days on end. He would get out of whatever we put on, we put weight on that, whatever. But that little hamster could get out. He really could. He was a little rat bag. And the thing is, we had a cat. And my concern and my worry was, well, and we had a dog as well. I was concerned that he'd get eaten. Or really horrible, meet a really horrible end. And well, the first time it happened, he suddenly appeared one morning, and the cat was just sitting there looking at him, because he was sitting there in the cat's food bowl eating the cat's food, and the cat didn't know what to do. He was a lovely hamster. But he would disappear. He would do it all the time. But I'm really sorry you've lost yours. It's horrible losing a pet, whether it's a fish, a hamster, a dog, or a cat. Turtle, any animal, it's really sad and upsetting. There we go. So we've got a lovely swill there, haven't we, of colour, and it looks like that's just radiating out to us. So I do like that. That's looking good. You've had a dentist appointment and a job interview in one morning. My goodness, Jenny, that's a lot.
That's a lot of stress.
That is a lot of stress. Mr. Goblin's here, but I believe he's chatted now and again.
Ducking in and out.
He is ducking in and out, but he is keeping an eye on chat as well to help me with any questions anyone may have. How did your interview go, Jenny? And what was it for? The internet wants to know. What was it for? Right, I've just gone back into the titanium white because we want that brightened up a little bit. And if you've noticed so far, I've not used my hairdryer. It's a warm day. It is currently 26 degrees in the studio, so the paint is actually drying quite quickly as I'm working. There we go. And I'll probably put another layer of titanium white into that center as well. That's looking lovely, I think. Hello, Leland. Leland is in. Leland is in. Right, I am going to mute you, so you are being muted whilst I use my hairdryer. Now, when using a hairdryer, always make sure that you are using it on the coolest satin. Why? Because if you've dried the top layer and underneath is still wet, that causes colour shift, and it can really mess up a piece. And that is true for painting on wood, painting on canvas, if you're painting on heavy proper paper stock, which is meant for acrylic paints. Just remember that you need to use your cool satin, and that's what I'm gonna say. So I'm just popping you on mute, guys. Right, there we go. It only takes a few moments, but I am going to give it a chance just to cool down as well, because you need to think about stuff like that. So there we go.
Jenny hasn't actually had the job interview yet. It's on
Oh.
6:30 where she is. It's for an adjunct professor at the local community college.
Oh, wow. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
I was never that clever.
She
Never
loves her
that.
regular job, which is a mental health therapist.
Oh, that's amazing. What an awesome job to have.
Yeah, really good for her.
I worked with children for 20 years, and for some of that time I worked with special. Oh, thank you, Lisa, lovely Lisa. For a time I worked in special needs schools, specialising in caring for children with autism and such. So it was really interesting on that area of working with kids. Rewarding but hard, because some of the kids we looked after weren't going to have a very long life expectancy, with all the different conditions that they had. So that's when we kind of went and started running our own business as childminders, which we ran a successful business for over 10 years, and it was awesome. And then COVID hit. We still continued. We worked through COVID, and we worked through COVID, but it was a case of you start realizing and learning what some people are like. And parents were hard. It was hard to work with, so Right, this is a Dritz tool. It is a chalk. It's chalk. I showed, if you were at the last one, at the last live, I showed you, it's just chalk. And when you buy these, I buy this from Amazon, because you get a little pencil sharpener with it and you get all different colours. You can just use, regular old crayon, chalk. But I find it can be quite chunky. I was just playing with the idea of having a tree and coming around a little bit. It was either that, and I'm having her sitting on a mushroom. Which do you think? What do you think, guys? Tree or a mushroom? Hey, Maxine and Audrey. Hello, Christy as well. And Stacey. Yeah, adult social work is really, Mr. Goblin worked with the brain injured, and it really did. It was sad and funny and hard all at the same time.
It's the management that broke me.
Yeah, the management that broke Mr. Goblin. 50 in. Oh my goodness.
Nice.
That's a record, guys. That is a record. So, let's see. So far we've got tree, 2 mushrooms. Well, I was Mac Fufu. I was saying hello to Mac, and Aud Mac, that's Audrey. So I was saying hello to both of you. Ha. And hello Tracy as well. So lovely to have you all coming in. So going from that, we're still getting a few in. So far, I think tree is working. Is winning, sorry, not working. Hello, Angie, as well. So far, we've got tree. Come on, guys, what do you want? A mushroom or a tree?
3 trees, 4 mushrooms.
4 mushrooms, is it? So
4
we look...
trees,
4 trees.
5 mushrooms.
It looks like mushroom, then. Looks like a mushroom.
Quite a close one, to be fair.
Yeah.
6 mushrooms.
Yeah, we'll do mushroom then. Right, what's cool about using chalk is you draw on, and then if it's not going to work, you just get a slightly damp cloth or brush, and just like that, it's like it never happened. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that cool? I like stuff like that. That's funky. That's funky. Okay, so we're going to do her sitting on a mushroom. And I'm not going to worry too much about the mushroom. Yes, I am. I want the position right. So I'm going to have the mushroom sitting about further back, like this, because we can do a smaller mushroom down here anyway. So we'll put her mushroom that she's sitting on by here. And mushrooms are quite easy, you know, you can do the cap. You can make them as difficult as you want, really. And I'm going to bring another one up to come by here. And no rude comments. I'm doing my best to do a good shape. Not to resemble anything rude. So I'm just shaping in here with the way I want my mushroom. And we'll have the other mushroom just sitting by here. And of course you can have gills coming up under there. So when I do my painting, I like to work in layers, and layers are your friend. They're the best, one of the best things you're ever gonna learn, because when you learn how to do layers, you learn how like the shapes work, how depth works, and how shadows work. And that is half the battle when you are learning to paint. Just grab one of these brushes. I've not used this brush before, so we'll see what it's like. So with the mushrooms, I'm going to go with the typical red. So I'm going to start this off by taking my cad red, burnt umber, and a little bit of the Mars black. And that's going to give me a brick, like a brick type colour, like an old house type brick colour. And that is going to give me my very first layer for a mushroom. And we want it in shadow because there's going to be a fairy sitting on it. But we want a few little, we do want a few little dabs of colour here and there. And if you recall, in my last video, if you were here, I did say about so many of my brushes coming to the end of their usefulness because I've been using them for the longest time. And so I've started about getting in some new brushes. So I'm having a go at trying out these new brushes to see how good they are for me to use. And I've not actually been completely snobby for a change. I've actually bought these from the range and from Hobbycraft, because I am a paintbrush snob. I really am. I'll admit to that, no problem. You can be very snobby about paintbrushes when you've been painting a little while. It's just knowing what you like. So there is the caps of our mushrooms. That is our first little glimpse of those. How are we doing? It makes us hard. What's that?
Then you commented the video. I just posted a bunch of little emojis.
Who did?
Funny and commented.
Oh, I
So
see.
just asking them just to calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
Just so it makes it
Just calm down a bit. That's all.
Yeah.
And if you can't calm down, lovely Lisa will put into action her spanner of power. She'll take you down. So I'm just going to go in. She will use her tool. I'm just going into my Mars Black with a titchy bit of the Mars. I just said Mars Black. I'm going into the Mars Black with some of the titanium white, and that's just to go underneath to start giving shading for where the gills are going to be. And I want to, interestingly, I want to go into my blue as well, into my phthalo blue and the cadmium white, not the cadmium white, the titanium white and the Mars Black. And that's just going to give me, for my stalk, I want to start bringing down my stalk by there. It's not as tidy, no, it's not as tidy as I want it to be at this point, but that's okay because this is the first point, and this is going to be the darker part of the toadstool mushroom. Is that a difference? Because you get some people calling these a toadstool, and then you get other people saying, well, no, it's not, it's a mushroom. I'm never sure what's right or wrong. So going back into my titanium white, just to carry on down the stalk. And if you've noticed, I've not dried off my brush, not at all. I just carried on, and I'm kind of blending them in wet. Excuse me. And I'm also going to start in there. And if you're not happy with it, if that didn't work, just go back into your colours and just go back over it. Or wait for it to dry and go back over it. And that's fine. I don't want that to look fluffy though. It's this brush. The ends of it makes it look fluffy. So there we go. We've got the beginning of a mushroom. I'm just going to go in dark along this one for where the stalk is. And I will need to change my brush because this one I'm not getting a great amount of control with. Nice brush, but it's not as controlled as I like them to be. And there we go. And don't leave, if you are new to painting or thinking about taking up acrylic painting, when you use your brushes, don't leave them sitting in your jar or pot of water. Best not to. The reason being is it gets the water going up into the filament, and it can really cause damage, and it'll, you know, it will lessen the life.
You mean the ferrule, yeah?
Ferrule, yeah. Ferrule. It will lessen its lifespan, basically. It's want of a better word. So I'm just going in here with a slightly lighter part there where I want the mushroom to have been picking up that light. And because this is still wet by here, see, because it's still wet, I can blend it like that. Isn't that cool? So that gives us an idea. And I'm just going to give a little bit of shadowing just under here as well, where that little thrill underneath that mushroom would be. I like that. That's good, isn't it? If I do go quiet occasionally, do excuse me. It's because sometimes I get lost in the zone a little. I zone. zone out a bit. So the stalk's going to go right up into there. And I can come back with that bit in a moment. So that can have a little rest, it can have a little think. Think about his existence now, because there's suddenly a mushroom. We now have a mushroom.
I mustn't have an existential crisis.
So, this is drier now. And I'm going to just add the next layer. And this is just the cadmium red. And we're not so concerned, because the fairy is going to be plopping her bottom by here somewhere. So, but I still want to have the idea there. Still want the idea of the colours by here where the mushroom is. But I also want to make sure that we're still in shadow down further. So start blending that in, just like that. And just blend it in. Don't be afraid to do whatever with your brushes. I'm tickling it around. I'm dancing across the canvas, so to speak. And that will give you a nice bit of colour there. And that leads us up to what will become the next layer, which will be the slightly lighter red that I have, which is just cad red medium, which isn't the full cadmium, as I said. I've noticed that I've painted and I've come round at an angle. That doesn't matter really, because I can always just take the string off and I can reposition it later. It just happens. It just happens. Oh, thank you, McFufu. But honestly, I honestly do think that if you take your time, slow down and pay attention, that it is quite, you can pick it up and you can learn.
90% of people is patience.
Yeah, it is patience and trust in the process, because this is the free bears concept. You know, just you've got to get past it. You've got to get to you've got to get past it to get to the Goldilocks stage. You really do. Just get past that bit, and you're fine. You got to trust that, yes, it looks messy for a moment. It might look messy for a good few moments, but it's okay. You've just got to be patient and trust it. And realise that, you know what, if I make a mistake, what does it matter? I'm learning. And what you can do is just, like I said, let it dry and start again. Or dry it with a hairdryer, like I've said I did. Right, just clean that brush. So we've got another layer gone on there, and it's already starting to look like something, isn't it? And that's just using cadmium red, burnt sienna. No, it's not burnt sienna, it's burnt umber today. I decided to use burnt umber instead. And a little bit of Mars black. And that's just getting us those colours. Just dry that off. And I'm going to go back in to my titanium white with a little bit of that Mars black. Now, we don't want to go straight for white. When you want to do highlights, you want to treat your highlights, if they're whiter, you want to layer those as well, surprisingly. You need to layer those, because you can then give it its pop later on with the white, with more of just white on its own, you know, and you can work it back. I can go back in. I've got more black there onto my brush, and I've not cleaned off my brush, and that is giving me the ability to control my shadowing a little bit more and to blend it a bit more, just like that. And you know, it could be picking up a little bit of light going up into the stalk under there. And if you don't like it, I've gone too much, just go back into the darker colour that you have and you can go over it again. It's just about patience, and sometimes it doesn't look quite right, so you can go, oh, I need to go back, bring it back again. And that's just what I've done there. I've just brought it back in and out. And I also think that it needs a little bit more of the stalk coming this way. It needs to be a little bit chubbier, just like me. So I'm a lot happier with that. And I'm just going to add in a little bit of colouring coming on from this one, like that. And again, I can go, I am going to clean my brush off on this occasion. And I'm just using my rag here. This is an old muslin square I used to use for my babies. And I'm just going to tap in here again with that lighter bit of the highlight that I want, but not completely. Not completely. I also want a little bit by there, and we want some of our idea of having the gills. The gills, that's what they're called, aren't they? They're gills. So yeah, I think that's good. We can go on to the next bit for this one in particular. And what I want a specific brush, and I can't seem to see it. It's one of my favourite brushes. There it is. One of my favourite scuffly brushes, and it's old. It's very old. It is so old you can no longer see what it says, but it was a filbert. Excuse me, I got a bit. It was a filbert, but it's now a fuzzy burt. I call it a fuzzy burt. And I like to use this brush in particular for dry brushing. Now, dry brushing. What I've just done, I just added the tiniest, I just tipped this brush a tiny little bit into my water, and it's barely wet. You could put it on there. You can see there, wet. Just slightly. So I've not wiped it off completely, but it's there slightly. And then you go to the colour that you want. And this is where my friend here, my kitchen roll, comes into handy. So I get rid of some of the excess there. And then I lightly brush onto the piece. And that's important for getting your highlight with dry brushing. And it's very, I can't think of the word. It's not in your face, is it? It's not, wow, that's bright. But I want it to be visible. So I can go over here and just put a little bit of it along there. And that's building up my little highlight on the mushrooms. And I'm going to go more onto this side and bring it around like this and just brush it on. This is why I like to paint on wooden slices, because I love dry brushing. It's one of my favourite things. And when you're dry brushing on this kind of surface, so you know, onto the wood, it really does come off quite nicely when you are doing the dry brushing. Look at that. So that comes off really lovely, doesn't it? Quite like that. So just gonna dab that brush off and really give it a good good work on my towel there. Reason being, I just want to go into my whites, but I don't want pink. That's why I was being quite precise about getting it off there. So I can start getting more of a buff there, so it looks less like a line and more natural, like that. Yeah, so that's dry brushing basically. So you can use a bit of your colour. Circles work, doing it like that works. It really is. It's very forgiving. It is really forgiving using that as a technique, so to speak. But that's very nice. So I'm just gonna damp my brush in some clean water, because I think yeah, that's chalk. So I just wanted to get rid of that a bit of chalk there. There we go. And now I'm going to just come back up here to that light bit. And I'm just going to give us our extra pop. That's going to be lovely and bright now, going on top of the little bit of a mixture of titanium white with that phthalo blue. So it gives us more of the brighter pop coming out towards us. I'm glad it does, Amanda, thank you. Right, next, we're gonna go back to, where have I done with it? It's over there. I'm gonna go back to my Dritz tool, to my chalk, and I'm gonna start pouring in, because I want her head, I don't want her head to cover the light, but I want her head to be here. She's like looking down. It's not going to be perfect yet. It's not going to be perfect at all. It's going to be what I get up to. I've drawn her head too big. That's what she said. So I've drawn her head there. But I need to size it down a little bit. And I think I need to bring her over. I think the issue is I need to bring her legs up here. And I want her legs to be draping down the mushroom like that. So her leg's going to come round here and her body's going to be like that. That's it. And I want her back got an arch around. And she's got her arm coming across. I'm used to drawing like naked ladies. I do, I paint goddesses, women as goddesses for empowerment, for the idea of empowerment. And I haven't done any for a minute. I did some recently. I think I've done one recently for members. There's a video on there for members. I'm having trouble getting the position because I think I've done the light too low. Okay, let's get that in. Let's round that up. This is, I usually do them naked, but because of YouTube, I'm giving her a little outfit. There we go. She's a slight little thing, bless her. Her arm is coming out here. And then her head, she's got a bit of a neck and looking down. And then we can play with her hair. Then it doesn't matter if it goes slightly up on the light. Actually, I know it looks like a mess, guys. Don't panic, don't worry. I'm going to fill it in now with some black, just so that we can see where I'm going. And I'm just going to downsize to one of my smallest, to my monogram. So I'm just going to downsize to that one, get some water flow onto that paint, and we can start. Usually I wouldn't do this. If I'm just painting for myself, I would just paint her. I wouldn't go about doing the black lining. But for your purposes, for you being able to see, I'm going to do the outline. So I'm gonna put her a foot in there. My black's decided it wants to start drying, even though I'm using a wet palette today. But it's a new one to me. It's not as good as my other one, but my other one is way too big. I'd have to clear off a lot of my desk. It's one of those stay wet ones. So we're gonna bring her around and her foot here. And she's got her body coming around just like this. Just like that. So her shoulder's coming up here. And the neck is coming out there. I've met that's better actually. So I've got her head by here and she's looking down. I'm going to concentrate on the fairy first. I'm going to concentrate on her first and then I'm going to think about the little dragon, if I end up doing the dragon. So I want, this is coming across. You okay? And like that. She's kind of sad. I think she is she's having a moment,
She
this
doesn't have a
fairy.
dragon yet.
That's true. She's sad because she doesn't have a dragon yet. Yeah. But she is in kind of a sad pose, and that's okay. You know, all your pieces of art don't have to be happy, bright and colourful and chirpy. You know, I've not been, you know, if any of you watched a video last week or so, I've had a little bit of a rough time, mentally, mentally due to physical issues, and you know, it's hard. So let's paint our feelings. I'm a fairy and I'm feeling sad, even though I'm a goblin. So this is just phthalo green. God help us, Mother. Mr. Goblin's chuckling now. So I'm just mixing in my phthalo green with some of the Mars black. I could do this with the burnt umber as well, just to give my first, you know, impression there. And with fairies, goddesses, stuff like that, it's rare that I paint them with true skin colour. I always like to paint my goddesses in all sorts of different colours, because that way they could be anyone. They could be you. They could be someone that you think of. That's why I do it that way. So that's our first blocking in of our fairy's outfit. Has she gone kind of Tinkerbell? No, Tinkerbell was pink, doesn't? No, blue. I thought it was green or blue. If Byron was in, Byron could tell us, but I don't think Byron's in.
No,
right. So, as I was saying, I don't usually go with skin tone for like fairy folk and stuff like that, but I'm happy to on this occasion, because my more kooky paintings and stuff are for another time. All my paint have got skins on the top of them. So I'm going into the burnt umber, the cadmium red.
Steph says green.
It's a green dress, is it? Fair enough, very hot. So now I'm going into my very enough. So I'm going into the titanium. Oh, you can't see, can you? See, you would have been able to see me mixing this. So just bring that up. So I've gone into my burnt umber, my cadmium red. See, it's got a skin on it. My cadmium red. I'd love a cup of tea, Mr. Goblin. I hope you've all had cups of teas and lunch and breakfast and stuff. So I've just mixed that in, and this is going to be my darker element of the skin. And then going into the titanium white, and this is going to be my lighter tone down here. I'm going to add a bit more there just to mix it up a bit. So you can mix up on your palette, you can mix up on the actual thing you're painting on as well. But this here is going to be my first tone of skin colour. So I'm just going to go straight in with that into here. And I think I need to change my brush actually. I'm being naughty and I've just left my brush in the water, but I'll sort that out in a sec. So this is my first tone right here, and I've added a little bit of black in there for my shadow under there. Sometimes I'll paint my shadows first, sometimes I'll do it afterwards. Doesn't really matter. It only matters if you're like in art school, I think, but I never went to art school. I never did that. I wish I did, but then I wouldn't be the artist I am now, I think, if I had gone to art school. So this is going to be our first. And I don't, some people like to have black lining for their in their paintings and for their characters, but I don't. I prefer to have none of that. I think it is more of a confidence thing than anything when people black line or black outline, but sometimes your artwork needs it, you know, it's that type of thing. But for this, I don't want that. I want it to look like she's there and not, you know, it's not as cartoony, and I love doing cartoony stuff, so that is not a knock on anybody whatsoever, but that's just what I like to do. So I'm going back into the skin tone again, and I'm going to come up here and put it over there, just like this. And this is where our arm is going in to tuck over. And yes, I'm cheating. I'm not doing I'm not doing a hand. I'm no good at hands. I say I'm no good at hands. It's just that I've never actually what's the word? Really needed to paint them. This is our deer getting in there. I still don't know where exactly I want to go with her face, or with the shape of the face. So I'm just going to put a bit of shadow in by here, because she's going to have wings as well. So I'm going to have it a little bit darker by here because I'm sticking to my paper. So she's going to have wings coming out by here. And I want more shadow under there. Go into the black, go into the skin tone, just to neaten that up a little bit by there. And of course her other arm is there as well. So bring that out, and of course she's going to have hair. Sometimes my goddesses have hair and sometimes they don't, and that is absolutely fine. So there we go. We've got our first idea of her body shape, but she is going to be looking down. Definitely going to be looking down, but we can concentrate on that in a moment. We're going to get in our next layer for her dress. I'm glad it's cool. I hope you're enjoying it, guys. Listening to me waffling. I waffle all day long. Right, just cleaned off that brush that I was very naughty for leaving in. So I'm going to go back to my square brush, and I'm just making sure it's dried off a little bit, and back into that phthalo green. But this time, the phthalo green is just coming in. Thank you very much. I have a cup of tea on its own without any of the Mars Black. So I just want to tidy that up a little bit. And then her shadow's there. You can't see it really well on the camera where this is concerned. I know that because of the putting the phthalo blue on top of the black, but it will work, I promise, because of doing the layers. When I start brightening the green again, we'll see the use of the layers and the shadow. There we go. So how's that looking so far? She is looking quite sad, isn't she? Bless her heart. I need to start considering the shape of her face. Now, I am not concerned, I'm not worried about details in the face. Another thing, you don't have to worry about stuff like that. People's brains and imaginations will put in all those bits of detail. So I've just put a little point there, look, that gives us the impression that she has a chin and a nose. Our brains know that. That's quite normal unless you're an alien. And I'm just darkening under there where her chin's going under, and then I'm going to bring it back again. Just want to figure out the lining, and I can go into the Mars Black and that darker skin tone as well. And I can give her an idea of a shape. I think it should be higher up. Something like that. For hair. And I want her hair to cascade down a little bit. Whether she's got it in a bun type thing that comes up a little and comes down around her neck. But that's given me my idea of the shape. What colour hair should she have, guys? What colour hair should she have? What do we think? Bye, Amanda. Red hair, is it? Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah, red hair. I was going to say then it's Nikki that has a red hair thing. Yeah, we can do red hair. And funnily enough, I'll do the red hair more or less the same way as I've done these mushrooms. So I'm gonna go in with the darker look first, like this. And then we can concentrate on the highlights. To bring in more of the detail. So we're just going to let that have a rest for a minute. I can have a little bit of a think about it. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to start bringing in more of the skin. I'm just going to get a little bit of my black on that skin tone there. I'm going to give her a little bit of shadowing. I know it's not going to look like a beard, I promise. It's just giving me my ideas for where parts of this are going. And I want her arm to definitely look like it's resting on there. Ooh. So I'm going to bring that across so that she's got her arm resting here. And I can knock that back a little bit. And bring that in again. Like that. So quiet. The house feels really quiet. I keep sticking to stuff. Oh, please don't start singing.
I want to do the shape of that.
The shouty what?
The jokes, it's so quiet. Have you ever heard it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's oh so quiet. Shh. Shh. oh so still. Shh. I don't want to get kicked off. Yeah, I don't want to get kicked off. So just giving it, like I'm just gonna give it that little bit of highlights on the skin, in parts of the skin, just to bring out bits of highlight. Bring it in a little bit there, but I'm probably going to be doing the same with dry brushing. Wow, how dare you ask?
She winds up the kids when she starts singing that.
Do you? More alone and so peaceful until, but alone you ring that bell. I don't even know why I'm worrying about that bit by there, because it's going to be, I don't know if I'm putting the dragon there, and I did want to establish that that's the other arm under there, so that's more in shadow. So I just want to create my shadow there to go under. I think that works, giving us that little bit of shadow by there. So she's, yeah, I'm happier with that. I'm going to come in now with my, I'm going to lighten it. I'm going to lighten the green by adding some cadmium yellow to the phthalo green. And if I don't like it, I can always knock it back. But doing the same thing, I want it more dry brushy. So that's a bit too much. So just doing it like this onto my hand, so I've got a bit more control. And I'm just gonna find little points within here just to add that lighter green, and then start bringing it out a little bit. And we got a little bit of the green coming out there as well.
Shula says it looks like Thumbelina.
Thumbelina! I love that film. I absolutely, well, I love the story, but I love the movie, the cartoon animated movie. Don't you remember it? Anyone remember the animated?
I remember Tom Thumb.
Hello, Angelina.
But I don't recall what Thumbelina actually looked like, and I know I watched it.
Thumbelina was just a little bit taller than me.
Borrowed your dungarees and everything.
Hello, Steph. Yeah, she was a dungaree wearer. She was a, you know, awesome like that. Do you like my dungarees?
You want to have like a little kangaroo in this, you can probably go with that.
Oh, I used to have a pet kangaroo. Why haven't I got a pet kangaroo? I don't want to. I want a real one. Don't want to.
No, we don't have pets.
Hear that? He's being mean to me, guys. He's not letting me have a kangaroo. Mean. Just so mean. Unkind. Alright, just gonna bring up some more light spot on her knee, on her shoulder, a little bit across there. I'm thinking maybe I'll just have a little dragon sitting here talking to her. Yes. Oh, thank you, Steph. That's really kind. Martin's going, look. Thank you very, very much. Isn't she looking lovely? I quite like this. I like the way she's going. So, let's come and revisit her hair a little bit. So, I'm going to come in with some phthalo, no, not phthalo. I'm coming in with cad red and cad yellow. And that's going to give me a lighter colour than we have here. And what I want to do is that she's going to be a redhead, isn't she? So some little pops here and there and I can concentrate more on the bigger highlights in a moment, like that. So we're building up her red hair has come from under there. That's pretty. She's a pretty thing, isn't she? Right. Okay. I want to get more of a blend in now with her skin tone. I'm going to be as careful as I can be here. And I want to use my thumb by there. And I'm just going to... There. It gets rid of those lines. So you get more of a natural type look. So tapping off there again. And I'm just getting across here. Just like that. And dry brushing just to bring that in a little better. Same with the face. Same with the face. What are we thinking? Is that good? How's that looking, guys? I'm going to come back now to her dress, and I want to...
Susie's impressed with the speed of how quick you paint.
Yeah, I've been used to painting about 6 hours in one go on larger pieces. On a good day, I can knock them out quite well. And I'm not sure that's not... I'm not showing off. It's just the way I learned and the way I picked it up. That's all. I'm coming back into my phthalo green and cadmium yellow because I want to get more of the highlight now on her dress. But I'm trying to decide if I like that tone. I think I do, and I think I'm gonna put it across here a little bit by there. I don't want it all over. A little bit by here. And I definitely want more of it come into the edges. Just to bring that dress out a little bit. And again, this is more of a dry brush. And I'm just going to go back into the darker a little bit because I can actually see some of the background colour by there, so I want that to pick up just a little bit. There we go. And she's got more of a highlight. Her dress is potent, you know, her dress is peeking out a lot more now. There we go. I'm liking that. I'm just gonna erase that and erase that. Any of the bits, any of the chalk. And I'm going to downsize again. I'm going to go back to my monogram. And I'm going to come into the red and the yellow again, but more yellow this time. More yellow. I might even add a little dab of burnt umber just to knock it back that tiniest little bit, but to give us more of a natural Albany red. And I keep getting my wrist, I keep dipping my wrist in my paint. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to loop in and bring bits and concentrate and bring bits of the hair round. And she can have some hair sticking to Louise's wrists. Oh dear. Like that. And bring it round. I'm going to bring some water into this just to give me some more flow. Like that, that's better. because what I want is I want it to look like her hair's kind of come out a little bit. Like that. And we just get a little bit of her hair wisping out here and there. She's got curly tots hair. And that's given this piece a little bit of movement, isn't it? Because we can have her hair being a bit messy and coming out a tad. There we go. Isn't she lovely? She's really lovely. Really happy with this so far. Just gonna come into my darkest skin tone just while I'm looking back at it, and I just want her foot. And I can just come into a skin tone by there. And I'm just going over where the skin tone is there and bringing it up. Just like that. A little bit of the Mars Black. And just toning it in again. Because I wasn't so happy with that shape. There we go. And I want that under there like that, where she's come down. It's alright, isn't it, guys? Yep. Just bring that in. And a bit more. Gives us more of the impression of the shadow going on. And I do want a lighter tone now again, just up on top by here, because we've got some light just poking through just a little bit onto there and down here. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I want to come on to wings. Now, I've never been very good at wings, I've got to be very honest. So I want to go simple. I want to go like not huge wings, but almost butterfly-like. But not, I don't know, like something like that. Like a flower, nearly. Like a flower coming out. And what I'll do with this, because I don't want them to be flashy and there. So I'm going into my dioxine purple and phthalo blue. And this is going to be for the first idea of the wings, and I'm just adding more water to that paint mix just to give me better flow, a bit more control. And I'm just gonna bring it around like this, just like that, and bring him round. Bring him round. And don't forget, guys, remember to stand back and look at what you've created. Breathe. Very important to breathe, because I don't know about you, I forget. I genuinely forget when I'm doing like closer up stuff, or maybe something with a bit more detail. I will literally stop breathing and hold my breath. Like going little, almost like little leaves. but I want them to be like that. I've stuck myself to my paper. Am I still on?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just having a swig of my tea. Don't forget to have a drink. What's people? Has everyone gone quiet?
Lisa's doing dishes. Some people are left to grab some dinner or not. And Christy says beautiful.
So there we go. We got the wings drawn in. So do I, she said. Do I come in? Do we want a dragon, a little dragon, or do we think that this is enough? And once again, I'm just bringing in my dry brush in, and I'm just puffing out that bit of dry brush for those pops of colour where she's lightening by there, like that. Because as I said, your imagination, your people's brains will take in the detail that, oh, there's a face, you know, and I like to leave a lot of faces. I can paint faces, honest, I promise. I can paint them. Mr. Goblin will tell you so. I can paint faces. It's just with pieces like this, I like people or youngsters to think that my face could be in there. You know, I could be, you know, I could be that fairy or stuff like
by
that.
not giving it a face, you're inviting a person to take a step inside that picture.
Yeah.
To be that person.
Yeah, that's exactly. I think I've talked to you about that before. So I'm just adding another highlight, more of the white onto this mushroom by there, just to give him more of a glow. And onto there as well. And I do want to give some more brighter I am gonna add a few lighter highlights to her hair because she obviously goes to the hairdressers. So I'm gonna go back into that same mixture that I made up with the cadmium yellow, burnt umber. But this is more of the cadmium yellow, so as to give me more of the highlight. And I'm not going to go too crazy because I don't want it to take over. I just want it to have elements and flicks here and there of that highlight, as if, you know, she's got the colour coming over and light coming in. But there we go, we've got highlights on her hair. There we go. How are we doing? Are we all doing good? There we go. I'm just taking a damp brush into there just to take away those lines that I had in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my phthalo blue, which is more or less the sky colour, and just dust over there to give us the impression that these are wings and they're not exactly solid.
Neil Spriggs asks, can you draw a strawberry?
A strawberry? Maybe not on this one, but I'll definitely do strawberry. I'll definitely can do that.
Half-bitten strawberry with a worm sticking out.
Oh,
That's what I
okay.
reckon.
All right.
Make it a
Now
bit
I'm
more
getting in the
interesting.
car to drive to the Goblin Cave now.
She wants a cup of tea. That's all that. She wants a cup of tea.
Hello, Argentina. Very cool. Yeah, so apparently next time we're going to be doing a strawberry, according to Mr. Goblin, with a worm sticking out of it, half eaten. What do you think? So, guys, do I finish at this point? Or would you like to, or would we like a little dragon sitting on this toadstool? What do you fancy? I am going to give it a highlight though. I'm going to give the highlight over here another point of the colour of that mushroom. Dragon, always a dragon, is there? Hello, Saudi Arabia. What time is it over there? Is it like tea, like late dinner time, supper time over there? I don't even know what the time is here.
10 to 2.
10 to 2. So that's just the that is just the cad red medium again on there, just to give me that slightly brighter highlight. So we want a dragon, a dragon, a dragon. I swear I saw a dragon. Right, okay, we're gonna draw a dragon. How am I gonna draw this dragon? It's been a while since I've done a dragon. The thing is, I like to do very simple dragons. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be amazing. But I want his tail to come down here. I want him to have a little tail. And I want him to be kind of concerned about his friend. I want him to be like, oh, what's up, mate? What's up? What's up? Oh, he's sweet. So I'm going to do him like that. Almost like a little pet dog. So I'm going to have him looking down at her maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to think of how I've done other dragons. Because... And he's going to have a wing. Kind of like that. Okay. Yeah, he's going to be like a puppy-like dragon because she's sad.
Well, that would be Falco, really.
Oh, Falco. And I reckon a dragon. I swear I saw a dragon. I'm going to go into my dioxine purple and add a little bitty bit of the titanium white. And that's going to give us a really like gorgeous like mauve. And if I'm saying that wrong, tough. So I'm going to outline him here. And what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to give him more of his, what's the word? I'll probably give him his shadowing afterwards and just use, because I'm painting on the fly here. On the fly. I just want to get his shape in. And once I've got his shape in, I can concentrate on the shadowing. And he's a sweet boy, this dragon. You'd want this dragon as a pet. And his little foot down there. So I'm gone into some of the phthalo black. So I want his foot like that. Shadowing there. And he's going to have his lovely wings coming up here. And like that. That's his main bit of his wing. And it's going to come in like that. So we're getting in the first part. Sorry guys, my hand was in the way, wasn't it? So I've just got in, just drinking my tea. Sippy sippy is very important. Make sure you're drinking, stay hydrated. So I've brought in an idea, a shape, so to speak, of our dragon. And he's going to be a lovely purpley kind of dragon. And I'm going to be going between the dioxine purple, Mars black, and titanium white. And I just wanted to get more of a shape for a wing here. I didn't want it to look like a triangle like it just did. So I'm just bringing that in. That gives me my idea and my impression of how that's going to go. And he's got shadow under here, under there. I'm going to have another foot almost like it's resting by there, coming over. And his little face, oh my goodness, he's going to have the bestest little face. I know, I'm sorry. So let's blend in the colour a little bit more. Bring more of this lighter, like mauve, and I'm just gonna do shadow there, look, to give the impression that the wing bones are by there. But again, you do not have to, you don't need to worry about all the detail, because the imagination can put in the rest. And imagination. And with a lot of my paintings, when it comes to dragons and fairy folk, they don't tend to have claws or anything like that. They're very gentle, you know, especially these ones, because they're only very small, they're very young. He's starting to take shape now, isn't he? So his head comes to the body, so his front arm is here.
Is he taking my shape, my triangle?
Yes. And his other hand is just holding where the mushroom is, and his one foot is here. The other one obviously is around the other side. So I'm just going to tidy that line up a little bit. And then when it comes to his face, I do like them to have a slightly, sorry, I just headbutted my phone. I like them to have the slightly elongated face. And then I can work on giving him a bit of a chin when he comes. Almost like a seahorse type face, you know, like a gentle seahorse type kind of thing going on. Yeah. And I'm just going to come in as well.
As opposed to like a crocodile or alligator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit rougher, isn't it, a crocodile or alligator? And he's going to have some little horns. Shut up, Martin.
I was going to go for a unicorn, joke honest.
No, he's got little horns like that because he's horny. He's a horny guy.
You said it, not me.
I know.
I'm
Right,
sorry.
I'm going to come back into my titanium white and dioxine purple. I'm going to take some of the excess off there. And I'm sorry I'm moving the wood right, but I got to save my shoulder. And this is where I can start figuring out the structure of his face. And I want him to have a cheeky cheek. And I'm going to go back into the dark there to bring in here. And I can start bringing it together then. He's starting to get a little bit of his face. I need a different brush. This is the problem when you start using new and different brushes. The ones that usually work for me, I don't have anymore. And that makes me sad. Right. I'm going to try this brush. I'm going to try this one just to see if I can just get a little bit of control on here. And that's it. Now, he's not going to get a great amount of character yet, not until I get his eye in. And he will have an eye. He's definitely going to have an eye. There we go. A bit more shadow there. A bit more shadow work under there. It reminds me of the, what was it? The Anteater. Do you remember the Anteater cartoon?
What, from Pink Panther?
Yeah. Do you remember him?
Yeah. Probably the best part of the cartoon.
True.
From what I recall, anyway.
Oh, I'm not sure about the shape of his face. I don't know if I like it.
Maybe just a bit too narrow.
Yeah. I need to make it more shapely. I'll sort it out in a moment. I think I got too confident. I think I got a little bit too confident. There we go. Just bring that in there like that. And like that. I'm not sure. If I bring more shadow under. There he is. I found him. He's looking at her. So his face is facing that way. Yeah? I found his positioning. Yeah. I've just found him. He just popped out there. And he's just looking down because he's feeling sad as well for her. He's sad because she's sad. Like many friends would be. I'm just getting the shadowing under there. A bit under there. And we're looking that way. It's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. Can you see what I mean, guys, by the way that his head is kind of turned towards her? I was struggling to find him then, but he suddenly started.
So is it a case of the mushroom he's on is a bit more forward in the perspective, so his face is actually turned away from you to look at her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's looking at her. So like his eyes are over here looking. Yes, I'm happy with that. Analogy, yes, that's the word. That was a big word for me, isn't it? Analogy. So I'm going to start giving this guy a few highlights now. And I want to give his horns the goldy kind of look. But very delicate, just little lines like that, picking up on bits of the light where they round up. And I'm going to come mainly into the I keep saying phthalo as if it's a magic word. I'm coming into my dioxine purple and titanium white. and that gives that lovely lighter effect. And we're going to pick up just along here for his highlights. And he's got highlight here and across there. I need to change my brush up. Back into there. Just a bit more control, that's all. That's too much on that one then. So bringing it up here. And I'm even going to use my finger just to help. He's got his little foot there, little foot there. And I'm going to bring him round with his tail. I've got so much paint on this my pole thingy. So he's looking over at this lovely fairy because she's sad. And he's just gonna have a little traditional kind of arrow on his tail. How's that looking, guys? How are we looking? We do like purple, a nice bit of purple. And there we go. I'm going to go back in here. Barely touching that purple, much lighter purple. And I'm going to bring that down here. Elements there and here. I'm bringing it around like that, like this, and bringing it in. So we've got him with more highlights there. And what I'm going to do is like a side-on, almost like a side-on thing going on here. So I'm going to give him, nostril by there, because his other nostril's on that side, which we can't see. And he's going to have a titchy little eye. If I can find my dotting tool. There we go. Just a little dotting tool. You all know what these are because we use them with resin. And that's the first impression for his eye. And we're going to give her a little highlight in a minute. Even though it is tiny, we're going to give the impression... that it's a little eye, just like that, and there's his nostril, and there's another nostrils that side, facing that way, just like that. Almost horse-like, isn't he? He's got a bit of a horsey face. And that's fine because, as I said, I love the impression that my little dragons in these little worlds are tiny and sweet. There we go. He's like, what's that, love? Do you need a cup of tea? Always need a cup of tea. Oop. So I'm just going into my titanium white when it's not all glued up. It's the tiniest amount. Very side on. I hope I can you see? And I'm just gonna dot in. That's gone a little bit too crazy, so I'm gonna just knock that back.
Lisa says it's tiny and sweet, just like you.
Ah, thank you, Lisa. People will start talking about us in a minute.
Already, yeah? Just chit chat.
Now this brush is it is literally missing you. I don't think it's easy for you to see it. It is the army painter, wargamer, the Psycho. It is tiny, and I mean tiny, teeny tiny. But it is perfect for little things like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go really close into the eye and just give almost like a little, like wet, almost like a wetness. And I'm just going to do a few little highlights just across there. Just here and just down there. White highlights are great. How's that, guys? Just going to again knock it back a little bit. And there we go. We've got a gorgeous little dragon. Just come in here again. He's beautiful. He really does remind me of a horse. And I just want to put a little highlight on that side where his other nostril is, which we can't see. And he's got a little tuft of hair by here because he's a baby. Because he's a baby. He's a baby dragon. He's just got a little tuft of hair by there because he's super sweet. Just go into the lighter highlight there. Oh, he's sweet. So there we go. Oh, well, Cornelia, if you were here at the start, I may well have painted a tree. But there you go. You can't get everything that you want in life, so there we go. Some people, eh? Right then, let's bring her up. Let's bring her up for a proper look. And what do you think? We got a little dragon that looks like a horse to me. His face looks like a horse. I'm really pleased with that. Oh, well, I'm sure we'll all go to Cornelia's page and see how wonderful Cornelia is. You know, can't upset me. I'm better than you. There we go. There we go. And even if you're just learning, it is doable. I have only been painting like this. I only seriously started painting 5 years ago. Honestly, just 5 years ago, I started taken up painting, and I never learned it in school. I didn't go to art college. I didn't do any of those things. I've just always been creative. And if you've always had a slight creative spark in you, which practically everyone does, nobody is born without creativity. It's taken out of you as you grow older, when you're told, no, you're holding your pencil wrong. That's not how you do this. That's not how you do that. That is what happens. It's letting go. That's how you learn to paint. You let go. And I'm not being jokey about let it go, let it go. No, you have to let it go. You have to unlearn all the bad stuff you've been taught. Literally. And you will start being able to paint. It's lovely to be told that I have talent. It really is lovely, because everybody who does stuff like this and creative, we love to be told that we're good at it and stuff. But honestly, everybody has the ability to learn. And as I said at the start, the beginning part is learning to paint in layers, and to learn that there's gonna be a messy stage. There always is going to be. And you've just got to be patient and work past that messy stage. And then you start seeing shapes, and you start seeing shadow. And don't let anybody tell you that you're painting it wrong. You paint how you want to paint. You paint with the brush that suits you best. You don't paint at the end of the brush just because some snooty person at some, I don't know, college or something told you that's how it is. I paint like I'm drawing with a pencil because that is comfortable. Okay, that is the most comfortable way for me. You do you, boo. You know, if you want to paint a certain way, that's how it's done. If you want to do the shadows afterwards, instead of before, do it. If you want to do your shape and then do the background afterwards, you do what you feel like doing. Now, I am using heavy body paints, okay? Heavy body paints mean that I can paint colours a lot easier. If you're using student grade paints, by the way, there's no issue with using student grade paints. It just takes more layers. Or you may have to start white to get to the colour that you want. I started off using student grade paints as well. And then as I built up and as I started getting more confident, I started using more golden and Holbein is another, but they're expensive, and in the UK they are hard to come by. So if you are interested in wanting to get paints like that in the UK, I can recommend that you go to Jackson's Art. They're online, and that is where I get my heavy body paints. Saying that, in the UK, you can also get them, you can get Peebo, the more heavy-bodied version of Peebo in places like Hobbycraft. And also the Winsor & Newton. I love the Winsor & Newton range. And also Liquidex. You can get those in places like Hobbycraft and the range. I know that paints in the UK aren't as easily accessible as they seem to be in the States. But another great paint, and it is not a heavy body paint, it is Senlier Abstract. And they look like this. Now these pouches are available in Hobbycraft, and 9 times out of 10 they're on sale for about £2. Now I rate these all the way up there with the heavy bodied paints. They're brilliant pouches, and they're well worth it if you're looking at starting out or having a go. But honestly, just be patient. You're not gonna run before you can walk is one of those old sayings, isn't it? Yeah. you know, you've got to take your time, and you've got to have the belief that you're always learning. I'm always learning. I learn something new every single day. And when it comes to painting, there are masters, yes, but even masters used cartoons, what we call now as tracings. Da Vinci did, Michelangelo did. They called them cartoons. We call them tracing. And there is nothing wrong with tracing if you haven't got a drawing skill. Anybody can paint, honestly, I promise. Anybody can paint. You can learn. You might not have the ability to draw, so you trace it. It's as simple as that. Tracing is a skill and it is a tool. It is not cheating. I promise. And if you're struggling for an idea of what to paint, and I said this on my last live, you can, let me turn you around. Hang on, let me see. Woo! Hello. Look at the state of me, because I keep leaning in paint. So, what was I saying?
Words.
So, if you want to learn and you can't draw, trace it. In the last live that I did, I told you about Pixabay. Now, Pixabay is copyright free. So people share photos, photography, pictures of their own, and that gives you the right to be able to use those images. Be really careful about using stuff. I know a lot of people say, oh, I saw it on Pinterest. That is somebody's artwork. Bear that in mind. And unless they've specifically given you permission to be using their artwork and their photography, if you're flashing it all over the place, and then maybe you're at a good enough level to be able to sell that artwork, you have to be careful, because that is copyright. It is hard to prove with art, but it is provable. If the artwork is over 100 years old, it's fine. You can do versions of Van Gogh. You can do versions of Da Vinci, because they're over 100 years old. But what you can't do is then sign it Van Gogh. That is that is what you can't do. That's forgery. You can sign it with your own name, because the artwork is over 100 years old. But when it comes to newer stuff that you're finding on Pinterest, be very, very wary. But you can learn. You can learn and practice from other people's artworks. Just don't go claiming that it's yours. Give the artist their rightful credit. That's all it takes. But Pixabay, Pixabay. You can join it for free, or you can pay towards it. And I use it for editing as well. I use it for images, sounds, and stuff like that for videos. But you can access, and if you're struggling with an idea, maybe you've got an idea in your head, but your imagination doesn't let you get to that point from imagination to paper, you could type something in. And it's the same. AI is a funny concept, and a lot of artists don't like AI. A lot of people don't like AI, but it is a tool. So if you have something in your imagination, maybe you dreamt it last night, you can go on things like your AI and you can tap it in. Now, my art teacher, I've self-taught, yes, but my skills were toned in by the art Sherpa, and we really sadly lost her in December last year. She passed away, but she has thousands of videos on YouTube, and they're free, and they're still releasing the videos on a weekly basis. I am one of the moderators with the art Sherpa, so the videos are still happening. and they're still spreading, you know, let's get the world to paint, you can do it. And I highly recommend them. Can you say so?
Robert had posted something, I'm not sure what he means.
No idea.
Janice said she's
Stranger.
watching the Art Sherpa.
Oh, that's
She's on the-
awesome. I did recommend the Art Sherpa, and what's cool is the Art Sherpa she didn't only teach acrylic, but she was also teaching more, you know, the technical stuff with clouds, trees and stuff like that, where a lot of artists do struggle when they first start. And she also done watercolor. And now I do like doing watercolor, but it is hard because it's not as forgiving as acrylic. Because as I said throughout this video, you can let it dry and paint over it again. But with watercolor, you don't get that. It's a much more, it's hats off to the watercolor artists out there. What they come out with is just magic. It really is. And I still want to learn and hone in more with the watercolor. Right, I have held you up for 2 hours. And I really truly appreciate you guys for hanging in there for, even if you left and you came back because you've maybe gone and got some lunch or your breakfast. I really appreciate you being here and listening to me waffle. I hope that you've managed to perhaps learn something from it as well. And if I've inspired you, awesome. Honestly, it's what I love to do. I love to inspire. And I'm hoping over the next couple of months that I'm going to start doing a bit more of the painting tutorials, more beginner friendly, to start easing you guys in. And I may well use some of the Art Sherpa's lessons as well, because she inspired me to keep going and to come up with my own style, my own, you know, my own way. And that's what I'd hope for you guys. Nothing has to be perfect, not ever. It is art. It's if it makes you feel happy, if it gives you something at the end of it, what does it matter? I don't paint realism. I don't draw realism. I can't. And those people that can, awesome. Not my bag. Can't do it. Possibly could if I pushed myself, but I like doing the whimsical. I like painting swirls and breathing, and that is what you have to remember, is to breathe and to sit back, let your shoulders drop, and don't tense up. If you are doing all these things, you're doing it wrong. It's that simple. It should be enjoyable. It should be fun, and it should be relaxing. So, Susie, it is possible. It is absolutely possible. Anybody can paint, honestly. Right, thank you everybody for coming. I will see you at Andy's live today. He is interviewing Tammy from Resin Me. Is it Resin Me Up or Resin Me That? I can't remember. Yeah, you better go food shopping, Lisa. So thank you so much, everybody. I love you, and stay beautifully weird.